PM seeks UN assistance in virtual conference. Landowners concerned over cancellation of power agreement. And student protest over outstanding administration issues.
This is National EMTV News with Dennis Orere.
Hello and welcome. This is Wednesday's news. Prime Minister James Marape joined other Pacific Island leaders in a virtual conference concerning economic recovery and climate change issues. Speaking in Port Moresby, PM Marape said the pandemic has crippled small nations and Papua New Guinea is no different. He urged the United Nations to make bold decisions to ramp government efforts to address economies. PM Marape also called on the release of global climate funds for member countries to utilize. He is part of the Prime Minister's virtual conversation.
And I would like to raise this awareness here in this auspicious meeting, that with resources available to countries like myself, but we need the money to develop, we need the money to rebound from the COVID-19 induced economic contraction. Someone out there in the entire world needs to hear this conversation. Smaller island nations, I speak for them, as well as the small emerging nations who are naturally endowed, need to be properly heard and properly supported. And I ask for greater global mobilization of resources to small nations who need help the most at this point in time. Because the converse, the opposite is very much full exploitation of our natural resources to ensure our economy survives. And that is the reality staring in our face, and I'd like to ask United Nations to play a very lead role in ensuring that small nations, especially small nations who are dependent on extractive industries, like Papua New Guinea, or small island states for that matter. I share the Blue Pacific Ocean with 15 other small island states who are totally exposed to the global travesty of this global pandemic, and help is needed greatly by the small island states and Papua New Guinea in this instance.
Dame Meg Taylor has completed her 6-year term as Secretary General of the Pacific Islands Forum. During her last official meeting last Friday, Dame Meg received tributes and praises for her stellar leadership and contribution to the Pacific Islands Forum. Dame Meg has served in the role since 2015, supporting forum leaders through meetings in Papua New Guinea, Federated States of Micronesia, Samoa, Nauru, and Tuvalu.
Fiji's Special Envoy to the Pacific Islands Forum, Ratu Inoke Kabubola, acknowledged Dame Meg Taylor for her leadership and huge contributions to the region as the Secretary General of the Forum. He spoke highly of her accomplishments, reforms at the Secretariat, strengthening of regional security arrangements through the Bold Declaration, and the adoption of the Blue Pacific narrative, speaking to our collective identity as a region. He added, "She has been a force to be reckoned with in the region and is a reassuring hope to a new generation of upcoming women leaders that anything is indeed possible." Sharing similar sentiments was past Forum Chair, Nauru President, His Excellency Lionel Angimea. Angimea also thanked Papua New Guinea for giving up one of its daughters for 6 years' service in the region. "It is not always easy when one gives up one of their premier daughters to work in the region. Thank you, Papua New Guinea." Dame Meg Taylor, in a response, said, "It's been a great privilege to serve the region as Secretary General to the Pacific Islands Forum over the past 6 years. We have achieved much, but there's still much to do. We must ensure all members and the people of the Blue Pacific feel valued and derive value from the forum." She adds, "As I conclude my term, I have never felt more strongly about the need for the Pacific Islands Forum. It remains the only regional political institution that provides us with the space to determine our own strategic direction, free from external influence and dependence." I spoke to Dame Meg Taylor via Zoom back in April on her plans after Pacific Islands Forum, and this was what she said.
This year would be your last term serving as the Secretary General for the Pacific Islands Forum. I have to ask, do you have any plans after retiring from the seat?
Yes. Well, my term ended in January, but I'm continuing whilst issues as the new Secretary General Designate will arrive here. Mm-hmm. And I hope to come home to Papua New Guinea by the second or third quarter of this year, depending on whether I can travel out of Fiji. I've had a very good tenure here with strong support from my colleagues, and I will be sad to leave them, but I also look forward to coming home to my own country to be with my family in particular, but also to get involved in issues back home in Papua New Guinea.
Yana Zoiri, National EMTV News.
Still in the region, the new Prime Minister of Samoa has issued her first ever statement saying the country's integrity and the people's confidence in the systems of government must be restored. Fiame Naomi Mataafa's election as the first woman Prime Minister marked a historical shift in regional politics. But her election triggered strong resistance from the incumbent administration, who locked the courts and parliament to prevent the swearing-in ceremony of the new cabinet. In response, the new MPs held Parliament outdoors within the Parliament House precinct and proceeded to swear in the Speaker, Deputy Speaker and the new Prime Minister. Biomass landowners in the Makam district of Morobe province have raised concerns over the cancellation of the power purchase agreement between PNG Power Limited and PNG Biomass. With large hectares of land being leased by landowners for the project, they fear losing out on the benefits and are uncertain about what will happen to their land with the power purchase agreement cancelled. While they have called for the possible reconsideration of this decision, PPL said the decision was made because the project did not meet the requirement of reaching financial close within 18 months.
These villages are from Wampuar in the Umiazera LLG in Makam. Amongst them are landowners in the biomass project who've leased out their customary land for biomass plantations. Since the project started, the landowners say they've been able to see its benefits in the community.
PNG Biomass engaging labor working about looking can buy school people picking any
work, the income to benefit their livelihoods in the village.
The biomass project was established to produce power using trees as a renewable source grown on 16 hectares of land in the Makam district. The wood chips from the trees would then be used to fuel a biomass power plant that would generate 30 megawatts of power into the main Ramu grid. In December 2015,
my land has been prepared in readiness to accept work to commence. It was supposed to commence September, October of this year. And now the PPA has been cancelled. So what is the government going to do about it?
Government itself considering people belong emlo Makam Valley Olgeta na reconsidering again this la purpose agreement where only like put him stop long.
Offer him ground finish. Agreement start finish 25-year period in over yet. Now, what will happen to us?
PNG Power responded saying the power purchase agreement was signed on the condition that it had to reach financial close within 18 months of the start of the agreement. However, this did not eventuate. PPL Managing Director Flagon Baker said PPL had issued repeated extensions to give the project a chance to succeed. However, despite these extensions, the project was still unable to dispatch power into the Ramu grid. PPL added that although various studies have revealed that biomass was cheaper than current electricity production using diesel and heavy oil, it was not a least cost option for the future any longer. Technology in the sector has evolved, bringing better and cheaper options to the market. Charlene Airy, National EMTV News.
With the country's tourism sector severely affected by the pandemic, the Tourism Promotion Authority has introduced a new product aimed at reviving this sector. The short track product is for Port Moresby City residents who wish to walk the Kokoda Track for fun and for personal fitness. PNG TPA CEO Eric Mosman Uvovo says there are plans in place to support this product and promote domestic tourism at Kokoda.
The Kokoda Short Track product was an initiative of the Tourism Promotion Authority and NCDC to promote domestic tourism at Kokoda. Last weekend, NCD Governor Powes Pakop with relevant partners went on a 2-day short trekking at the Kokoda Trail to promote this product. This signifies that the Kokoda Trail is now open to domestic tourists, and the short trek initiative is for Port Moresby residents who wish to experience Kokoda.
So the idea, and I want to encourage our people in the city, we don't wait for tourists from Australia or from other parts of the world to come. This trek is now available to us.
It's exciting, and I believe if we can sell it to the domestic market within Port Moresby, we can generate a lot of activities, a lot of interest going forward, and I really appreciate the initiative taken by Governor.
The tourism industry is one of the sectors severely affected by the coronavirus pandemic. Since 2020, the sector has lost over 40 million kina in revenue. The Kokoda Trail is one of the country's most iconic tourism product. Since its closure, over 50 million kina in revenue has been lost, with most tour companies going out of business and locals who depend entirely on the trekking business affected.
Because Port Moresby is used as the base where all our Kokoda Trek tourists come to do all their spending, go to the trek, fly into Port Moresby, spend again and get out. So that revenue has been taken away. It's part of the revenue.
The short track product will be a bi-monthly exercise that aims to promote physical fitness and wellness exercise among citizens. It also aims to rebuild the trekking industry, promote an income-earning opportunity for locals, and bring back the tourism industry. All city residents and business houses are encouraged to take part in this initiative.
And we will work on the details of how we can make that sustainable as we move forward.
The initiative, I support it. I would like to encourage all of us to work together with the Central Governor, Robert Agorabe, and also his team, so that we all develop the track.
The Tourism Promotion Authority has also put in place a national tourism plan aimed to capture what is lost during the pandemic. However, they are faced with funding challenges to fund their programs, and they are calling on the government for support.
So we're looking back perhaps in the next 3, 4, 5 years to build it back to where we were before 2020. So it's a hard road ahead, but we are optimistic to get back on track. And such initiative like this will build a foundation for us to.
Rayon Lakingu National, EMTV News.
Student representatives from Badili Technical Vocational Center led their students in a peaceful protest yesterday. This was after student leaders raised students' issues to the school on 3 occasions with no proper feedback from the administration.
They want to interfere, so we want to come and play our part as a student.
Class representatives from Badili Technical Vocational Center led the student body for a peaceful protest from the school towards 2 Mile Hill when they were stopped halfway by the police with notification that the protest was illegal with no notice to the NCD Metsup. The protest came about after the student representatives raised students' issues to the school administration on 3 occasions. Student rep Junior Kamun says they have raised concerns about lack of school materials indoor and for practical purposes. After 3 attempts, they sent in their petition to the school and went on to boycott classes yesterday.
School sports, they call us for meeting maybe 3 times around, and we come and sit for a meeting here, and they told us that our school was going well and everything is going fine, but as for us, we see the thing is not going well.
Because if we still stay in the school and complain, no one will listen to us. So we must protest so everybody will know that. But in vocational, we are facing some financial problem.
The students also raised concerns about lack of teachers in class, where students are left unattended to.
We come to school in a day, like we only learn 1 subject for a day, only 1. like sometimes I complain with the teachers. Nothing was done.
This morning, the member for Mosby South, Justin Tachenko, district administrator, and the school admin addressed the school on the issues raised by the students. Badili Vocational Center's deputy manager Ken Peruka says there was a misunderstanding between the students and the school. He says the TFF funds are not yet in for this year, which is why they had to delay and could not fund for school materials and cover for other expenses.
We do teach different trades, and in these different trades we have different materials that we use for the practical. And sometimes TFF that we receive cannot accommodate to buy those materials because the costing of the materials that we have, like for electrical, you need wirings, you need switch, you need lights and all that, and they are very costly.
Mr. Tachenko addressed the students saying that he will assist them when need be, and the school should go to him when they need help. He also pledged to pay off outstanding fees for the students at Badili Technical Vocational Center. Gertrude Gabi, National EMTV News.
Among stories after the break, government's move for a pay cut for public servants' absenteeism and poor punctuality. That and more after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Public servants' punctuality and attendance to work has always been a concern for many citizens. Well, the department looking after all public servants is now taking measures to get public servants who have been complacent back in line. The Department of Personnel Management will now start to make pay cuts for absenteeism and punctuality.
Gone will be the long days of wait and queues at government service centers just because a public servant is absent or late for work. The Department of Personnel Management is now taking serious measures to ensure public servants are punctual and attend work. Pay cuts is expected for public servants who are late for work or absent. That's the instruction from Secretary Tai Sansan. This will be done through the enforcement of the Special General Order 11 of 2019 or SGO 11. The Secretary has issued a circular instruction advising all heads of national departments, government agencies and provincial administrations to take heed of the measures to be enforced to ensure SGO 11 is implemented accordingly. SGO 11 states that each agency head must deduct from an officer who fails to attend work or fails to provide an acceptable reason for periods of unauthorized absence. Attendance records and timekeeping performance by individual agencies will be audited by the Department of Personnel Management, and an annual report made by the Minister for Public Service to the National Executive Council. Sansan says these measures are to address the biggest causes of lack of client attention and poor service delivery by the public service machinery. To ensure compliance, all government agencies are to put in place a manual sign-in and sign-out register. Public servants start work at 7:45 a.m. to 12 noon and then from 1 p.m. to 4:06 p.m. Disciplinary actions will follow if a public servant continues to be complacent. The Department of Personnel Management will submit a report to the Office of the Public Service Minister to inform NEC on which government agencies are complying with this directive. Shamin Poreambeb, National EMTV News.
Goroka's District Health Manager Michael Murray has applauded the rehabilitation work that has been done to health facilities in the district. Mr. Murray said the infrastructure has been improved, with one of the notable inclusions being better delivery rooms for women. A total of 9 health centers were selected to undergo these improvements under the Water, Sanitation and Hygiene's Clean Pela Community Project.
This is one of the health centers in the Goroka district that is being renovated as part of the WASH program's Clean Pela Community Project. It has been repainted, water sinks installed including a tank and incinerator. It shows the work that's being done to improve the health centers.
7 of them were completely rehabilitated, and for the 2 healthcare facilities, we have got the support from DDA and Provincial Health Authority to completely make a new building, and now they are at 90% completion.
Under this KKP, the health facility the infrastructure that was set up by Anis Foundation has been very, very good.
Goroka District Health Manager Michael Muri said one of the notable improvements has been better delivery rooms for mothers. This has been a concern in some of the health facilities over the years.
There should be water into the health facility. There should be a delivery facility accessible by women in the rural, remote areas, which will improve, which will have access for the mothers to deliver in a conducive, safe environment. KKP has achieved that goal.
Apart from the infrastructure developments under the WASH program, Mr. Murray said his officers were also able to receive COVID-19 training that will help them in their operations. Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News.
With the increase in demand for quality healthcare, St. John Ambulance was presented with a cheque of 71,000 kina by Deloitte PNG today. And with the spike in COVID cases, the donation is timely for St. John and will help them in maintaining their services.
Being in the front line since day one of the pandemic in PNG, St. John Ambulance was privileged in receiving the donation from Deloitte PNG today. The donation will help maintain their services while faced with this deadly virus.
As we know, with quality health care comes with a cost. And therefore, St. John's as an organization values the partnership that it's had and developed over the years with various business houses, various donor organizations. And so it's on this note that we would like to say thank you to Deloitte for coming on board, being very generous in your donation today. The donation is very timely in this current environment with the COVID-19 pandemic.
Dr. Sirigoy says the contribution will go a long way in helping, particularly with training in relation to infection prevention control. The donation is also a boost for St. John Ambulance as their services are now extending regionally.
We've recently opened an ambulance base in Kokopo, and I think today there's the opening in Ley, and with plans to open another branch in Simbu. So every help that we can get, goes a long way, and we're truly grateful for that.
Office Managing Partner Benjamin Lee says equipment shortages are an ongoing issue in PNG. He added that Deloitte PNG has a long-standing tradition of contributing to the country.
The money will be put to great use. I understand it will enable St. John Ambulance PNG to address some urgent needs to update clinical protocols, particularly around infection prevention and control. So I'm pleased to note that this money will go a long way in supporting PNG's emergency services for both COVID-19 and the longer-term healthcare in PNG. Deloitte continues to do its best to contribute to ensuring a healthy future for PNG.
Podivai, National EMTV News.
Very Important Person or VIP Toilet is the name given by the teachers and students of Ang Nui Primary School in Western Highlands Province to their new toilet facilities. Ang Nui Primary School is among 50 schools in Western Highlands Province selected to trial the European Union and UNICEF-funded Water, Sanitation and Hygiene or WASH program.
This is the first time after 2 decades for Ang Nui Primary School and 2 of its feeder elementary schools, Kagamuga and Church of Christ Elementary, to have clean and proper toilets to use. It was a need that has been overlooked for many years, and a dream came through for students, parents and the school. It is a gift from the European Union, which is being called VIP toilets, where students find comfort and peace to hang around the toilet areas because of the attractive colors and design.
But due to COVID-19, the project was delayed, but eventually we have a very good toilet standing there. And it's always a pleasure for us to go and sit around there, even though it's not a good place, but
Students shared stories of how they used old and dirty toilets, which many times have caused sicknesses. Many have missed classes because of the inconsistency with water supply to the school, which has forced the school to close. An elementary student had recently fell into one of the old toilets and died. However, all these are story of the past, with the opening of the new toilet facilities yesterday.
Thank you. If I'm making an album line, if me started to school several years, but me, I'm a master, so now me make grade 8 to me outside.
Angnoi Primary and two of its feeder elementary schools are among 50 other schools in Hagen Central Electorate that have been selected under the EU and UNICEF's funded WASH program. Each school have been introduced to water, sanitation and hygiene programs to help students to stay healthy. Water tanks were installed, new and clean toilets were built, and water taps connected for students to use.
That's all we go using toilet in a way where I'm respectful and clean. That is something very basic. It's a basic child right. The European Union, the UNICEF will come up in this land.
Care International has implemented this program in Mount Hagen, which is one of the 4 electorates in PNG that was selected to pilot the WASH program. The designs were built to also accommodate persons with special needs so that there is inclusive education. The project was officially opened and handed over to the schools and the Mount Hagen City Authority to continue the management and maintenance of the facilities.
Celebrating this day in a talk. Thank you, European Union. Money people salary come, and not come waste nothing. People amamas, people celebrating.
Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
Maprik District Development Authority has put close to $500,000 kina towards supporting Maprik students in tertiary institutions throughout the country. Yesterday, Maprik MP and Minister for Agriculture John Simon presented checks for students studying in Port Moresby.
Students from Maprik District studying in various tertiary institutions in Port Moresby met with the member for Maprik, John Simon, at his ministerial office on Tuesday. The purpose of the visit was to collect their checks from the district for assisting with school fees. Maprik is one of the 6 districts in East Sepik Province. Since 2013, it has been providing school fee assistance to tertiary students.
Since 2013, after I got elected in 2012, till now, the district has spent more than 4.5 million to close to 5 million kina in total to spend to support students. And I'm proud that we're able to do that.
The minister explained to the students that while he wished he could do more to assist the students, this is as much the district can support. Each student is assisted with 1,000 kina.
We'd like to support students more than what we're supporting, but we can't do that.
Even though there is a need for the development in our district, but our local MP really believe in human resource in our district. So I thank him for that.
The minister also encouraged students and youths in the district to utilize some of the SME and loan schemes in the district that is available for youths. He told the students that while they are in school, they should also consider starting small businesses back home.
There is this credit scheme that is running in the district. All your parents have to do in order to qualify is have 1 hectare of cocoa garden that is clean, and the cocoa must be clean, pruned. Then get the DAL officer in the district and cocoa board officer in the district, or it's going to be a coffee garden. You get the CIC officers in the district. At least you have 1 hectare, you have 400 to 500 trees of cocoa. Your parents are qualified. You are qualified to borrow. So you can borrow that funding as well to support your school fees. Currently in Maprik, In most of the areas, we're paying 3 kina per kilo right now with the government price support. 3 kina per kilo on wet bean, and that is the best. And it's throughout the country. Maprik district, we've got this running already. And a lot of parents are getting a lot of money from that now.
Last week, students studying at the University of Goroka and the Goroka Technical College were presented with their checks. Maprik district also recognizes students from other districts or provinces whose parents are serving in the district. Shamin Poriambeb, National EMTV News.
And now looking at the Nest Fund market report, the kina opened unchanged at $0.2850 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina will buy $0.2775 $0.3531 Australian dollars, $0.3800 New Zealand dollars, and 29.56 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading higher, coffee closed higher, cocoa and copper closed lower. Palm oil closed lower, crude oil is trading lower, copper closed higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower, the ASX 200 is trading higher, and the All Ordinaries is trading higher. You're watching National EMTV News. More stories after the break. Welcome back. The Women's Ministry of the Hagen region and in the United Church in Papua New Guinea is holding a week-long conference at Reverend Sione Kami Memorial Church. After the government's lifting of restrictions on major church conferences and conventions recently, conferences like this are finally able to go ahead after being deferred for a year. After a year of deferring major conferences and conventions, churches are now able to at least hold gatherings of up to 100 people. The urban region of the United Church covers major centers of the country including Port Moresby, Lae, Goroka, Medang, Popondetta, Wewak and Manus, with women leaders finally being able to travel in from their respective circuits or congregations of service for the 4th triennial conference hosted by North Port Moresby Circuit. It's back to business for the women as they deliberate on their plans going forward.
We have five-year plan, and so far we have achieved all our plans within 5 years. And in this meeting, in this conference, we are planning a new 5-year plans.
The 4th trial conference taking place every 3 years. But for last year, due to the COVID restrictions on shore of PNG, we deferred this 3rd trial conference.
EMTV News visited the conference venue yesterday, which was day 5 of the event, which saw report presentations and election of new office bearers. Among the many agendas raised during the conference was the major project of a permanent women's hall at Metorea Hill, Hanuabada, that is expected to be built this year, which can be used for conventions, conferences, workshops and other events for women. Marma Kila Kauna and her husband, Reverend Emmanuel Kauna, were posted recently at Seigu United Church in Goroka, Eastern Highlands, and have been serving there for almost 2 years now. She is one of the conference participants in this week's gathering of women.
We have about 4 outreaches and 3 congregations serving in Eastern Highlands and the United Church. And in those outreaches, we have 2 ministers with the Maramas, serving at one at Yonki, minister in the Marama, while the other one at Namuka, and a minister who's a single reverend serves at the highest mountain in Niru, that's in Okapa district.
Another conference participant, Helen Henny, represents the Women's Fellowship in Popondetta, Northern Province.
In Popondetta, with the COVID challenges, we didn't do much in our 3-year planning, but now that it is lifted in our province, we would like to say thank you to our provincial government that has uplifted, and as of Sunday last week, we are going to be released to do our ministry work. And so we have a lot of things to achieve for our vision too from the Assembly Women's Fellowship passed on to our urban region.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. PNG Basketball Federation today commenced screening of its elite players at the High Performance Center in the nation's capital. The screening is to gauge whether players can make the national train-on squad in preparation towards the Melanesian Cup, which is set on the BF-PNG calendar.
Papua New Guinea Basketball Federation has commenced screening for its elite players to kick off preparations towards the Melanesian Cup.
This is the beginning of our campaign to defend our gold medal during the Melanesian Cup, which will be held in Suva, Fiji next year in May. It includes also our training squad athletes in Leh and in the Highlands. We will organize separate screening sessions for them together with our high-performance colleagues in those centers.
The screening today will see whether the current national players will continue in terms of fitness and, in the case of injuries, the possibilities of being dropped. Elite basketballers in the likes of Gabriel Elavo were amongst others who were present at the screening today.
We have, as you can see behind me, we have Gabriel Elavo, who's been in the team before and didn't make it in 2015 due to an injury at, I think, in the last few months leading up to the games, and unfortunately had to pull out, but he's in. And of course, we have our offshore-based players, the Wright brothers, Martin Englay, to name a few. We have also in the training squad Ryan from Leh. We haven't seen him before at national level, but he's definitely a very dynamic and explosive player. And once we get our coaches to work on him, I'm sure he'll be a threat to those who traditionally have seen their names on the starting roster. And lastly, of course, we have the trio of the Mori brothers who are in the training squad.
While normalcy slowly returns, BF-PNG has requested for the commencement of its semi-professional league for the purposes of match fitness for its elite players.
The PNG Men's Basketball League, as you know, is our semi-professional men's basketball league. We have included in our request to the controller a request for that league to commence its competition. So we've been in contact with the chairman, Alan Bosugu, for them to kick off their competition and give the men the match fitness that they will need before getting to the Melanesian Cup.
Kilawani, Trukai Sports.
The Football Administrators and Stakeholders meeting in Wewak has agreed in principle to sign an Memorandum of Understanding with PNG Football Association as guide to develop football in East Sepik Province. PNG Football Association President John Capinato announced this during a meeting. He said this MOU would provide the guide to help them fix the ongoing football issue in East Sepik Province. Currently, there are 3 entities who claim to administer football in the province: the Sepik Soccer Provincial Association, the Sepik Futsal Association, and the Wewak Football Association. Mr. Capinato stressed that PNGFA wants to see just one soccer body to run the administration of football in East Sepik and then down to the local districts. That story wraps up Trukai Sports. The weather report after these messages. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
Weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region: Port Moresby and Daru, partly cloudy and windy; Kerema, partly cloudy with brief showers possible, and cloudy periods for Alotau and Popondetta.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
And that's the news, sports and weather for Wednesday, the 26th of May 2021. Pleasant viewing, be safe, bye for now.